Alright. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's lair. I'm your host, Larry. We're back for some more Staxel. I'm a registered farming person now, which means I need to go get some more starting materials to kick things off, and I can go start cleaning up my house and making the dollarinos to explore this game and do the stuff with the things. So I got my license, which means I need to go to the general goods store and talk to Eliza, and see about doing all those fancy things about building. Eliza's got a shop where you buy all your building materials, you buy some of the crafting materials like glue and paint and varnish, and she also lets you use her equipment to make raw materials, and then she stands on top of them while you're working with them and stares at you breathing heavily. Oh hey, you want to give me a Oh, I'm not sure I've seen you around before. I'd shake your hand, but I don't think you'd appreciate the oil. The name's Eliza, though. If you ever have any crafting needs, I can help you out. Oh, is that your farm license? I'm guessing Maximilian sent you here about the barn, then. It's a bit of a task, but I figure it'll get you familiar with working around here. See, this here is a market designed to plot out a marker designed to plot out the land for the barn and tell you all the materials you need to make it function, and the game recognizes it as a thing. They come in all shapes and sizes. You need the mailboxes. Are you seeing the mailboxes around? Same deal. Just shove her into the ground, making sure you got the right rotation, and you'll be on track in no time. However, and keep this firmly in mind, the barn ain't gonna build itself. You gotta do that part yourself. Let the chop down trees for wood, turn them into blocks, and build it up bit by bit. Of course, you can always buy some of the blocks at the building store. Other parts might be a bit harder to come by. Now off you trot. Go find a nice spot. Here's an axe. Go stab some things. Woo! So yeah, she does the building. She'll tell you things. You can order blueprints to build fancier things you haven't seen before. It'll be great. Do I want to sell anything else while I'm here? Well, I can name my... Or that's the naming form, so I can rename my dog. I should probably do that. It's also getting towards nighttime, so where is the general goods store? Here it is. I live just down past here. I'll talk to some other townspeople in the morning, but first I gotta rename my dog Freddie Mercury, because that's kind of been my thing ever since Fallout. Harriet Tubman, you're not a thing anymore. You're now gonna be Freddie Mercury the dog. So now you're going to be Freddie Mercury. Yay! Now you're posh and suave and staring at me with one off-colored eyes like so many dogs love to do. Yay! Dogs staring and judging me. Actually, I need other tools, and if I pass out in the middle of the town, I don't really care. They don't really give you a bunch of starter tools. You basically just get some starter money. And they force you to go learn how to buy stuff so that you're not a scrub. Which I kind of like. That's the kind of do-as-you-go methodology of teaching a player that I like. A combination of hand-holding to introduce some of the baser game mechanics like talking to people, along with the rest of it, isn't a bad idea. So we'll buy a hammer, which actually I already had one of, so I'm a derp. We'll buy, and we've got an axe, I'm pretty sure. Yes, so we need a bug net, we need a shovel to bury the bodies. I mean, something that doesn't sound sinister, and we have a scythe. What else do we need? Is that it? We already have a watering can, which thankfully is a source of infinite water. We could have solved world hunger by making a source of infinite food and calories, but instead the scientists of Staxel decided that infinite water that could produce food was good enough. We can get a smoker in case we get a bee box. I also need to get some money for a shipping station, and also the shipping catalog would be helpful as well. That way I pretty much don't need to worry about whether or not the shop has anything. I can just order it for overnight delivery. It'd be fancy. Oh, I bought an extra shovel. Well, in case one breaks when I'm hiding the bodies, I'll have a spare that isn't covered in evidence. Beautiful! Yay! Then I'll have to work on this paving stones, because these bug the shit out of me. Okay, here's the old house, which is full of crud. Like old cobwebs and boxes. Whoever was living here before really liked, like, nice romantic candlelight dinners with themselves and probably their animals and llamas and things. And, lots of cobwebs. Also, there's a hole in my wall where I can be pooping and see who's in my bedroom. I think I'll leave that. It's a nice addition. Oh, this is actually a lot more crunked up than my previous house was. Ripperoo. I've also got some janked up windows everywhere. I think I might just block in this part of the house over here, where the front foyer area is, and just make this more of a square house so I have more room inside. Because I like a nice open floor plan. Ever since shenanigans happened at the start of this year, and I kind of had to take a step back from everything, I've been watching a lot of those Flip It, or Flop It, or whatever, house shows, the fixer-upper shows, and I've quite enjoyed them. I have to do the stuff with the things with those. There's actually a fixer-upper game that you can buy that I've been kind of looking at recently. That was actually kind of neat. You get to style a house based upon what the guidelines are, and then sell it back to people. Although some of those houses look more like garages than actual houses. So we'll just break these things, get them out of my way. I guess they're like rocks or something. And since it's almost midnight, let's go ahead and sleep in my posh bed that I did not launder at all, so it's probably really gross and dusty. So I got a couple options here for getting seeds. I could buy and waste a bunch of money getting seeds, or I could just use my scythe and kill all the grass in the vicinity, and see if I can't get any random seeds to drop from the local plants. Because in other games, you'll oftentimes get some of the cheaper plants that are kind of garbagey, but will still get you some money. But in this game, it seems like you can get some of the most expensive seeds in the game, including some of the ones for the, like, flowering fruit trees that exist. Which I kind of like. That's actually kind of nice. If you're lucky, if RNGesus is good to you, you will get some free seeds that are going to make you a lot of money. If the RNG gods hate you, though, you're just going to have to suck wind and hope that you can buy something worthwhile. You also gotta remember to look around and pick stuff up in this game. You don't automatically pick stuff up like your ass has got a magnet in it. Which can be nice. It means that if there's some garbage on the ground that you don't want to pick up, you can just leave it there and completely ignore it, and it'll delete itself, which is handy. It's also constantly reminding me that I need other tools to break the ground underneath of these plants. That way you don't accidentally tear up your entire yard and break into the bottom underblocks every time you try to clean things up. And then probably my favorite feature of this game is that you don't have to worry about, like a lot of voxely games, trees floating in the air. If you take the bottom out from under them, like a regular tree would do, they all just kind of disappear and shatter into their component pieces. In this case, wood. So how many seeds did I pick up? I got 7, that's not a bad start. I think I'll just mow down the rest of this yard and all the plants within it to clean it up and make it look posh. And eventually I'll have more than enough seeds to really start raking in the cash. The other thing that's a nice change in this game from a lot of other farming games is you don't get fatigued after you do like a handful of things. In games like Stardew Valley, for example, and a couple of the other farming games that have tried to copy what Stardew's been doing, you'd go pick up a couple of rocks and clean out some trees and a few ferns, and you'd be almost exhausted for the day, and you wouldn't have any energy left over to go to bed if you weren't careful. So the fact that you don't have to worry about that in this game is rather nice. So you can do a whole bunch of stuff, and if you happen to pass out in the woods, this might not be the same all the time, but if you happen to pass out in the woods in the middle of the night, it doesn't seem to punish you either. Whereas other games, you'll either have no energy the next day, or some townspeople might kidnap you and charge you money to get away. Don't you just hate it how them doctor people work? You were dying in the woods and I saved you, give me money. I don't know. The bear's never eaten me before. I don't see what the problem is. So let's see, I just want a couple more seeds before I start, like, super gardening. That's all I want for Christmas is my 2 front eyes! But I haven't been a very good Chupacabra. I've been hunting a lot of sheep, drinking their blood because it's savory, and yeah, that's about it, really. There we go, some seeds. Saw all this stuff off. Done and done. I do like that some of these flowers you can actually sell the components, or the flower itself, although others of these tend to just shatter into petals that don't seem to be good for anything just yet. Whatever they're good for, they don't have an intrinsic value in the game. You can only pawn them off for next to no monetary value, which sucks. So that's 12 seeds. Let's go with that for right now. There we go. I can literally just hoe up a storm right off the bat, which is great. There we go. That should be more than enough room for all of my plants. What is this? A barn sign, so I can build my barn. They did give me some basic blocks to get me started, which is nice. Okay, so we got some, like, pole beans in here. And we've got whatever those black seeds are. There we go. We'll give these bad boys a quick water. Which is the quickest I've ever watered anything, even in real life. Usually that shit takes forever. And then I'll mow down this grass. And we'll go back into town and see what we can find. Actually, I do want some more money. And I was advised by a friend that I should go off and I should go to the beach immediately and ransack the place for all of the seashells and sea urchins and fish and innocent crabs and stuff so that I can make a boatload of money to buy things like that delivery station right off the bat. Being able to order things from the ether, have them delivered by boat or helicopter or however they appear at my house, is magically convenient. And an easy way to sell stuff without having to constantly run back to town and talk to people. That way I can be completely antisocial in this game. So you get a pearl. Pearls are always nice to sell. I could cut down some of these coconut trees, but they don't really give you much, so I'm just fine leaving them there for the ambiance. And I think if you give it like a few days, the ocean will eventually replenish your goodies. And that's how this game functions. We're on a randomly generated voxely island in the middle of nowhere that you can explore and get stuff. And it looks like as they add things, they're going to eventually allow you to, in town, have a Zeppelin station that will fly you to other people's islands or maybe other NPC islands where you can expand your base. Which is nice. It gives them a place to expand to, without having to worry about building it into the original island until they're ready. That's a very sound game design choice. We'll just grab this up. And we'll grab this pearl. And we'll have a starfish. Yeah, things are turning up well for us here on Chupacabra Farms. We'll be making buku dollars in no time. Since I don't have a ridiculously lavishly large island, I could in fact go around the entirety of the shore, picking up every single item that's there, and making a bunch of cash. And I might just do that. It is very tempting. I also need to pick up some extra dog food in town, and start converting my wood materials into stuff to make the barn. Because for the barn to work, I have to build a structure that can have some open holes for windows. And then I need 2 troughs for feeding the cows. And then kind of almost like Minecraft, I'll be given a cow spawning device and I'll get a pair of cows. So that's the current objective, is to start getting some animals that will spit out milk and maybe some other valuable items. And then roll in the cash. After that, if I recall correctly, the town will also start to want me to build new houses because they want tourists and new residents to move in to expand the populace. There'll also be fishing. Sometimes I'll get to play horseshoes where I throw horseshoes at people. That's really a single-player game, is despite what people might tell you online. Because no one else I've played that with on the island so far has been super keen once you beam them in the forehead with a horseshoe. There we go. Some more of these little scragglies. I think I might want to come back with a shovel some point, but I'm not super concerned about my inventory. And gather up some sand. I feel like that's used for something. I also rather enjoy the soundtrack to this game. If you want a game that will give you something to mindlessly do, and to also just kind of chill out to at the end of the day, Staxel is definitely a good choice. So I'll get a couple more of these things, and I'm gonna head inland, start chopping down some trees, which will allow me to automatically convert these into wood. I should also keep an eye out for insect life, because insects can be sold to private collectors that want to imprison them for all time and watch them hop around and do insect things, and occasionally help them with their taxes, depending on if they're one of those intelligent bugs. So let's see. I'm actually surprised I haven't seen a bunch, but I took a lot more time when I was first starting to pre-play this game and see how it all fit together. Bloop. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing a lot of plants that I can maul, though. So let's do that and see if we can't get any more seeds to spawn for us. I think there's a better chance of that spawning from grass, though. Sort of like I'm playing legit Minecraft. And not something that just feels like quest-driven Minecraft 2.0. Which isn't a bad thing. I kind of like this so far. There's one. Nope, just lots of petals so far. Are we almost back to town? I am getting hella lost again. Is there a map? Oh, there kind of is a map. I can just walk ahead and it gives me an overhead. That looks really cool. It's almost like staring at a live topographical map of the area. Alright, so here's the Zeppelin platform and our first insect that I can obviously see in front of me. Catch this moth. There's a couple of insects that I'm told I ought to keep, but all the rest of them are pretty much free to be sold, as they just take up space, although some of them I'm pretty sure you want to use for fishing, which is another area that I can set up later. So let's go in here and try to sell some stuff to these people. I'll just put these in my quick slots for easy access. Start with this. I wonder if it matters who I sell it to. I feel like it might not. So far, it seems like I get basically the same price for these no matter who I take it to. But it would make sense if they split it up, so like the furniture guy is the guy who would pay the best for good furniture. Or the lady that sells seeds would understand the plants that you're attempting to sell to her. That kind of a deal. Sometimes the merchants also have a better supply of things than the actual store does. If you want to buy like new clothes or a cow for slightly cheaper. But it looks like the price for things like food are more or less the same for the animals no matter which place I buy it from. Hey Cecile, I meant to talk to you yesterday. Well now, it's just what the village needed. Fresh, eloquence, yes, eloquence, not your organs. I'm Cecile, and I have absolutely no intention of using you as a test subject. Oh, well, you know, you do you. Just tell me to bend over and say, and we'll see what those new pills do. I don't have a lot of money, and these things are hella expensive. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get more. That's fine. I do have some more stuff to sell, and I think off-screen I might go ahead and farm up some additional items that might be of value. Also sell this beer I was given, because I'm not really going to use that for anything besides putting it on a shelf to store. There we go. That's almost enough. What about this moth? How much are these moths? 18 bucks. It's not great, but it's not bad. Alright, well in that case, instead, why don't we buy a boatload of seeds that could be valuable? And we'll just start off the game right and plant a bunch of stuff that could be rather valuable. So let's buy some potatoes. Let's buy a bunch of potatoes. Let's buy as many potatoes as I can hold. I'll just plant a boatload of potatoes. We'll just go crazy on potatoes. And then I'm going to buy some pet food so that the dog doesn't starve and look at me funny and attempt to eat me in my sleep. And we'll be golden for the moment. I'm going to plant a couple of these now, and then we'll work on getting those fancier pieces of equipment next time and start building materials. Yeah, I like the sound of that. It should be good. So you should still have... Nope, you already ate your food, so it's a good thing I bought some. Now, where's all those seeds? I have like 39 of these bad boys. There we go. If you press and hold, you plant a little bit faster. There we go. Should make a bit more space. There we are. Aha. That should be almost more or less enough for what I'm attempting to accomplish. There we are. I've planted 50 seeds already to get an in-game achievement. I don't think that one's tied to Steam yet. I think your game has to be fully out before you get the full gamut of... Well, no, that's not true. So I played a couple of other really bad, cheesy games that tried to sneak onto early access to make a couple of bucks that had zero problems with that, so I don't know. That's probably not exactly how that works. But if they don't focus on things like achievements till later, that's fine. I really enjoyed this game so far. So that'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your host, Larry. This has been more Staxel. Hope you join me for some more moving forward. Until next time, have a good one, and do that likey, subscribey, all that stuff if you want. And, bye.